Bases loaded with LA losing by one and down to their final out at Dodger Stadium. Freddie Freeman gives the Dodgers a walk-off win. What's new?
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Tyler Glasnow shows why the Dodgers both traded for him and gave him a big contract. Kirby Yates, quite the opposite. Shohei Ohtani, that's it. I only have to say his name. Freddie Freeman comes up clutch when we needed him the most, and Mookie might not play on Friday. This and more in today's episode of Locked On Dodgers. He's Travis Rogers. I'm Harry Ruiz. Two guys who talk sports for a living and bleed Dodger blue for life. If you're catching our show early in the morning, you can hear more of Travis on 710 ESPN LA or the ESPN LA app. He's live from 9 to noon on the Travis and DeMarco show. As for me, I have the privilege of calling games in Spanish for the Las Vegas Raiders and USC football, but nothing compares to firing up the mic every weekday morning and diving into what I love the most, which is talking Dodger baseball with you. An afternoon game on Wednesday at Blue Heaven on Earth, this time with a great pitching duel between Tyler Glasnow and Chris Paddock, with both guys looking great on the mound, but ending up without a decision. Tyler Glasnow, masterpiece, 7 innings, 12 strikeouts, 3 hits, and only 1 run allowed. Tied for the second most strikeouts since he joined the Dodgers. 7th double-digit strikeout performance with the boys in blue. Travis, it showed us when he's healthy, he's a guy that other teams don't want to face.
Yeah, this is why the Dodgers gave him $100 million. This is why they gave him a 5-year contract. This is why, when lists of major league players who other major league hitters do not want to face, Tyler Glasnow is on the list. He has unbelievable stuff. He has an electric arm. He is frequently borderline unhittable. And yesterday afternoon against the Twins was all of the good stuff. The only knock on Tyler Glasnow is, his availability, and he's injury prone, and he's not able to, be the workhorse that you would like a guy like him to be, big, strong, physical guy that goes out there and can just be a dominating presence. Now, we'll see what happens moving forward, but he was terrific yesterday. He was terrific on a day where they needed him to be. He was terrific on a day where the bullpen has been really shaky for the last few nights, and they needed to give some of those guys a day off, and he delivered. Now, we'll get into the rest of the bullpen in a little bit, but you really could not have asked more from your starting pitcher on a day where you needed him to eat a lot of innings. You needed him to pitch you deep into the game. You needed him to give you a chance to win, and he stepped up in every possible way. And look, I'm knocking on wood right now, but Tyler Glasnow has been fantastic since he's come back to the Dodgers this year. You just hope he can stay healthy and continue to do it, because this is what you wait for. This is what you're paying for. And this is what you hoped you were getting when you made that deal with the Rays for Ryan Pepiot.
Yeah, and last year he had 20-plus appearances with the Dodgers, but he wasn't available when you want to have him the most, which is late in the season, which is in October, which is when the team is fighting for a big spot in the World Series and then win the World Series, because how great would it have been to have him on the bump against the Padres in the National League Divisional Series? How great would it have been against the Mets and against the Yankees, but he wasn't available. So that's where you want to have him right now. And I'm hoping that we already took that big long IL stint out of the way in the first half of the season. And now that he's not had that big demanding pitching movement on his arm throughout the first half of the season, now that he's available for us the second half of the season, because that's where you want to have that kind of dominant top of your pitching staff ready for October. And man, I just got so encouraged from what I saw yesterday.
Yeah, me too. And it's funny, and I think I'm going through it personally, and just trying to recalibrate what it is your expectations are for an ace pitcher, a starting pitcher in the year 2025 and moving forward. The days of Fernando Valenzuela and Oral Hershiser are gone. right? They just simply don't exist anymore. Let's throw Clayton Kershaw in there too, where a guy's going to pitch more than 200 innings. He's going to pitch into the 8th inning on a regular basis. He's going to have a handful of complete games here and there. And you can just kind of say, all right, we're going to start him in April and we're going to ride him through the 6-month season. And he's going to be great in October as well. And, what Fernando did and what Orel has done and what Kershaw has done. It just simply doesn't exist anymore. Those guys just really aren't out there in any meaningful way. There's a couple of exceptions here, a Zach Wheeler or whatever, but they just really aren't there. If you're going to get, let's call it, for round numbers, you're going to get 100 innings from a guy. Well, if you're the Dodgers, I don't need 100 innings for you in April, May, and June. I need 100 innings for you in August, September, and October. And I think that's what the Dodgers are kind of morphing into. And I think this is what you're seeing is we're going to manage an inning, especially a player like Glasnow, who, last year had a career high in innings. And like you just accurately laid out, Harry, was unavailable at the end of the season. Well, if we're going to get roughly 100 innings, I don't need him early. I need him late. And like you said as well, imagine that kind of performance in October. Imagine a guy just going out there and wiping people out. I mean, they had no chance against him. 12 strikeouts, and he was just cruising and just had command of his pitches and just looked like he was in complete control of what he was doing. Incredibly exciting. And I'm still working my way through it. I'm not going to lie. This idea of, you're not going to make 35 starts. You might make 15 or 16. Okay. I just, let's push this stuff to the back and find a way to get to the back and still be in the playoff mix. And the Dodgers may have cracked that code.
If he gets those starts when they matter most, we'll forget about him and that long IL stint. And look, you talked about the big picture about how it's like you're not going to get 200 innings pitched and 20 plus games. I'll look into the right now to the soon next week against Cincinnati and maybe in Tampa Bay if he gets 2 starts in this road trip. Just give us quality starts. We don't want you to pitch a complete game shutout. If you can get us through 6 and allow 3 or less, I feel that this team is going to be in a good position because let's just go to this last week. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 5. Kershaw, less than 5. Emmett Sheehan, less than 5. And I know that we're going to go deep into the bullpen in just a bit, but man, you can't put the bullpen into tough positions day in and day out and then expect them to always deliver because that's when then the shortcomings come from the guys that are coming out of the pen. So good from Glasnow. Snell is going to be coming back very soon for the Dodgers. I know that we've been saying that now for a couple of weeks, but now it's sooner that he's coming back. If you get these 2 guys to pair up with Yoshinobu Yamamoto without Yoshi having that full responsibility of, hey, you're our one top ace right now, and we really need you to have a great performance because if not, we're screwed for the rest of the week. That's where Tyler Glasnow is going to be a huge and a key component of this rotation.
Yeah, it's a great point. And going into the game yesterday, the Dodgers led Major League Baseball in bullpen innings thrown. They were number 1 or last, however you want to look at it. This is not a category that you want to lead the league in is bullpen innings. And it was over 450 bullpen innings at this point. The next closest team was at 405. So they had 45 more innings than the next closest team. And the next closest team, the Chicago White Sox, who are dreadful.
Wow.
So this is a huge problem for them. And look, you're not going to just all of a sudden go 8 innings every night. But like you pointed out, instead of going 4 or 5, can we go 6 or 7? Well, Yamamoto is certainly capable of that. Tyler Glasnow showed yesterday that he's capable of that. I don't think Snell's going to be at that threshold when he comes back, but at least you're going to be able to cover more innings. Shohei Ohtani is going to get stretched out a little more, and he's going to be able to go 4, 5, hopefully 6 innings by the time you get into August and September. So there's help coming on the way, but you've asked a lot of that bullpen, and you're really starting to see the cracks in it at this point in the season because, like I said a second ago, you do not want to lead the league in bullpen innings pitched. And not only are they leading the league, they are running away with it. And it speaks to how good the offense has been that they've been able to survive 450. Let me think. So 450 plus another 2, 3. Yes. So yeah, you're nearly at 455 innings out of the bullpen, and you're still in first place. It's just that just speaks to how good you are everywhere else.
Fortunately for Tyler Glasnow, he got help early in the game. Just in the first inning, Shohei Ohtani launched a solo home run, his 5th consecutive game hitting a home run. That ties the longest streak in Dodgers history with Max Muncy, Jock Peterson, Adrian Gonzalez, Matt Kemp, Sean Green, and Roy Campanella. He'll have the opportunity on Friday over at Fenway Park to break that record. And I mean, what else can Shohei do, right? It's like every day he's just like, all right, let me just see what I can do, and then just record. The lead didn't last long, but man, just getting the opportunity to watch Shohei Ohtani day in and day out instead of just watching him on primetime games like where he was in his previous stop, it makes you feel like, man, we're witnessing something that I don't know if my kids or my kids someday will get the opportunity to watch.
They won't. Yeah, they've been playing Major League Baseball for 130 some odd years, and this is the first guy that's ever done what he's doing. He is one of one, unicorn, whatever you want to, phraseology you want to throw in it. I'll put it to you this way, Harry. We've gotten to the point where, he hit another home run, and it's become routine. It's not routine. It like you just said, this is a team record that he tied, and quite frankly, when you talk about Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Kobe Bryant and these guys, they've entered that category of the only thing that's surprising is when it doesn't happen. Like, I fully expect him to hit a home run in Boston and be the sole record holder of that. You ripped off 5 or 6 names of the guys that have hit 5, and that's an extra. But Shohei doesn't share records; he is the record. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he goes into Fenway Park and sets that bar at 6, and who knows how far he goes past that, because there is nothing that this man cannot do on a baseball field, and it is a real pleasure to watch him day in and day out. But look, they walked the winning run intentionally in the 9th inning last night or yesterday afternoon. You don't walk the winning run intentionally in the 9th inning. You don't put him on base on purpose. Not only did the Twins do it, it was absolutely the right decision to do it.
Yeah.
Blew up on him, but that's how good this guy is. Is like, nope, you don't get to beat us. We'll let somebody else do it. And thankfully the Dodgers did.
Yeah, and that was fortunate for Tyler Glasnow getting to see Shohei Ohtani give him the lead early in the game. Unfortunately for Glasnow, the Dodgers bullpen couldn't hold on to the lead for long, with Kirby Yates walking all 3 batters he faced. Coming up next on Locked On Dodgers, is time running out for Kirby Yates?
Today's Locked On Dodgers episode is brought to you by Gameday Hue. And so Gameday Hue is awesome, right? We're talking about some incredibly cool golf hats for Dodger fans like me, and they absolutely just hit the mark. I'm going to make sure that I bring it next time so I can put it on my head and you can all check it out with your own eyes, because they're just fantastic. Gameday Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. So no matter which team you're about, it's going to look right. It's about letting your colors speak for you. No enormous logos, just smart, versatile style that works perfectly on game days, on the golf course, or really anywhere in between. I like wearing it out when I go play a little golf because it lets everybody know which team I root for without having a giant logo all over the place. It's subtle, it's stylish, and you still get to rep your team. And the colors are absolutely spot on. It pairs perfectly with all of my usual gear. It doesn't replace my team's logo stuff. It just kind of, it adds to the lineup, gives you a little of that lineup depth that we're all looking for as well. And it's not just hats, right? Check out their split shade gloves as well, made for that golf course, or the perfect gift for the fan. You think you have everything, but you don't. This is a perfect opportunity to add to your lineup as well. And right now, you can get 15% off with the code MLB15 at GamedayHue, HUE.com. That's GamedayHUE.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now is the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GamedayHUE.com, code MLB15.
Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rogers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. Let us know if you've seen enough from Kirby Yates, because on Wednesday, he walked 3 batters in a game. Check this out, Travis. For the first time in his career, and 2 of them ended up scoring the runs that the Twins took a 3-2 lead in the 8th inning with. Travis, I don't think Kirby would still be with the team if it weren't for all the bullpen injuries that Los Angeles already has.
Yeah, well, Harry, this is one of these times. Like, I'm going to get a lot of stuff wrong here at Locked On Dodgers. My spidey sense is often slightly off the mark, but here's one thing I am going down with the ship on. You've heard me say it. You and I have been doing Locked On Dodgers now for a few weeks, and the everydayers are. You can't walk people. You can't walk people, and you really can't walk people coming out of the bullpen. And Kirby,
your description of walks, I love it. A pitching error.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're dooming yourself. You're putting yourself in an impossible situation. And you saw the hit that brought in the go-ahead run. It went 50 feet. You don't have to do anything good to score a run if you're walking people, and you really don't have to do anything good to score a run if you're walking multiple people in an inning. So the walks are a killer. You have to attack the strike zone when you're a pitcher, and you really have to attack the strike zone if you're coming out of the bullpen. I think you said it, that the Dodgers are finding themselves in a spot where they don't have any other options. They're these guys that are struggling right now, they're going to continue to pitch because they don't have other people to go have pitch. Van Casparius is down. Tanner Scott is down. We've been over the list of other guys that haven't been here all year or have been here in limited service this year. Trinan and Kopech and Gratterall and Phillips, and guys that you thought might be the backbone of your team or your bullpen have either pitched very, very little or not at all. So Yates and Scott were all-stars a year ago. These are guys that got nice contracts. These are guys that were supposed to be a big part of it. They've struggled. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to kind of dismiss it. They've really struggled, and Yates had probably the low point of his season yesterday. They got very lucky to pull that thing out and win the game despite that. But yeah, Dave Roberts has not one hand tied behind his back. He's got both hands tied behind his back, because it's not like, Vezina and Banda, I thought, did a pretty good job to get that thing back on track, and the offense bailed him out. But there are not a lot of good options down there at the moment. There just aren't.
Yeah, I know that Freddie Freeman makes more money than Kirby Yates, but I feel that after yesterday, he owes Freddie Freeman at least a dinner with a very good wine. And heck, I'd even invite Rocco Baldelli, the manager for the Twins, too, for that dinner, because he walked Shohei Ohtani. He opened the door for Esteury Ruiz to then draw a walk. Shout out to my cousin Esteury Ruiz for that. And then you had Freddie Freeman come out big with that RBI single, which Harrison Bader was this close. It was 2 outcomes. Either Harrison Bader got a walk-off catch right there, or Freddie Freeman ended up getting what happened, which was a walk-off single. But man, Kirby Yates, he's had at least 1 run scored on him in 4 of his last 6 appearances. His ERA has now increased to 4.45. No bueno for the second most expensive arm out of the bullpen at $13 million a year. Friedman, he spent all that money in the offseason with Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates precisely to avoid having to overpay other teams for a trade in the middle of the season. Yet here we are. And Travis, it's not if the Dodgers trade for relief pitching. Right now, it's how many relievers they're going to trade for, with the way that the bullpen has collapsed over the last couple of weeks.
I think that's a great point. I think it's not just that, okay, what was an absolute must, an arm, is it 2? Like, do you have to have 2? Does
3?
Maybe. And the desire for an outfielder, which I know is very high, all of a sudden it's like, look, we can survive with Michael Conforto and some sort of, a platoon situation out there, but we can't. You cannot survive with a bullpen like this. You will be out, and you will be out quick. They can fight 8 on 9 offensively, but you can't fight without an arm on the bullpen. So I think that's going to change a great deal. Look, this is a good example of, even as smart of a team as the Dodgers, even as successful of an executive as Andrew Friedman, when it comes to building bullpens in the offseason, who knows, man? They just the guys that are consistent from year to year are so rare. There's just these wild fluctuations in performance. Look, Yates is a little bit of an older player, but I fully expect Tanner Scott, assuming health, to be good, because that's what relief pitchers do. They'll have terrible seasons, and then they have pretty good seasons, and then a mediocre season, and then a pretty good season. They're just kind of all over the place. That's why Trevor Hoffman and Mariano Rivera and Kenley Jansen, quite frankly, these guys that are good for multiple years in a row are so hard to find, because the variance in relief pitchers goes all over the map, and the Dodgers kind of crapped out on both of these guys this year, and that's just life signing relief pitchers. And unless they are elite guys like Jansen and Hoffman and Rivera, this is what you get. You just kind of cross your fingers and hopes it works out, and so far it hasn't for the Dodgers.
Travis, you brought up Kenley Jansen's name, and I'll give a shout out to my buddies Bo and Rick from El Paso, Texas, who I text with every day. They're big Dodgers fans, and I was like, man, remember how much crap we used to give Kenley Jansen when he was with the Dodgers? Mm-hmm. I feel like right now we would love to have him back, because at least he was a little bit more consistent than the guys that we have in the rotation with the bullpen as closers. And I mean, look, overuse has been thrown around as a reason for their downfall, but let's remember how the Dodgers have had or still have players on the injured list who were supposed to not just be in the bullpen, but be a big component of their pitching staff, like Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Roki Sasaki, Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan, Michael Kopech, Tony Gonsolin, Bruce Dark-Ratterall. Sorry, I'm running out of breath. But so all these guys, I mean, they're in the injured list or we're on the injured list, and it's the Dodgers have had to just roll through and get through the season, and they're still at first place. They just got to their 60th win on Wednesday afternoon, and now they're going on a 9-game road trip, which, I mean, is going to kick off here on Friday, Travis.
Yeah, well, hopefully that win that they kind of pulled out of their ear launches them to get back on the right side of things. It's one of those, okay, we dodged it, but we finally caught a break. They haven't caught a break in a long time. They finally caught a break. They didn't even play all that well other than Glasnow, but they still found a way to win the game. So maybe this is kind of what unlocks them moving forward. The help is on the way. You're going to get Trinan back, and we talked about the starting pitching that'll give you some depth. And once that starting pitching comes back, all of a sudden, guys like Sheehan, guys like Robleski, guys like Knack, guys that are starting pitching options. Well, maybe you can slide those guys into more relief options and see who thrives, who doesn't, and who goes for there. And most importantly, I think, Harry, like you mentioned, today's the 24th, and we got a week till the trade deadline next week, and they're going to get an arm. I would think they will get 2 arms, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was even more than that, because they just don't have enough warm bodies down there right now.
Yeah, and well, now the Dodgers, they start a 3-game series against the Red Sox on Friday, and there's a chance Mookie Betts might not play in the opener at Fenway Park. We'll tell you why next on Locked On Dodgers. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Gone are the days where I needed multiple apps on my phone for all the different banks I have an account in to be able to track my spending. Monarch Money takes care of that for me. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or on our YouTube channel. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Shout out to Craig. He's an everydayer, and while I'm in the comments during the premiere of the YouTube video, he's always there, so shout out to him.
What up, Craig?
Craig, you're the man. 4 episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers postcast show with Pete Fox live after the final out of every game. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer like Craig here on Locked On Dodgers. I'll keep shouting out the everydayers every day, so stay tuned. Dave Roberts shared a very interesting tidbit of information during his postgame press conference yesterday, saying the following when asked if Mookie Betts might get out of his slump going back to his old stomping grounds. Here's what Dave Roberts said. I know there's some things going on personally for him, so I got to talk to him, and we'll see if he's going to be there for the Friday game. There might be some things going on that he might not be around, that he has to deal with personally. Everything is okay with him. We'll see. First off, I hope everything's okay with Mookie, like Dave Roberts said, because we don't know what's going on, Travis, but could it be that it's something off the field that's actually hurting what's happening on the field with Betts? And we go back to like 3 weeks ago with a show that you hosted here on Locked On Dodgers, where it was like Mookie Betts benched for mental health. What's happening? So I hope it's not something that is hurting him bad, but that's for us to say 48 hours before the game. He might not be in Boston for that first game. That's shocking.
It really is, and you know, it's kind of interesting because look, let's kind of go through this. Hopefully, it's not a real mental health issue. It's more of a phrase than anything else. Just like I just need a day off, but a couple of things are happening here. Number one, going back to Boston for Mookie, I'm assuming is a pretty big deal. That's where he got started. It's where he won an MVP, a World Series. So that is familiar territory for him. And I do think that there's an opportunity to kind of unlock him in a positive environment, so that they're even throwing it out there that he might not be available, I think is meaningful. Like Dave Roberts is very good at using the media, at communicating, at delivering messages. He does not say things just off the cuff and just, I didn't really like. If he said it for a purpose. Now, I want to be extra clear here, Harry, because I'm not. Let me just say it like this. I hope that there is something going on off the field that is affecting his play, because hopefully what is going on off the field can be rectified. Hopefully what is going on off the field is something that is fixable, is something that he can wrap his hands around and get a hold of and allow him to get back to the player that he is. Because that's one of those things because the scary part is, what if he's just really starting to fade? What if this position change is really taking it out of him? And it's just, there isn't a thing that, hey, if you take care of A, B, and C, then D, E, and F will start to take care of themselves. If A, B, and C are things that are off the field and he can get his hands around them and manage them, that's good news in a way. I hope everything in his world is fine. I hope his family, his friends, himself, all of those things are healthy and good. And that Dave said, he's fine. That's good news. If this is something that is a minor or mid-major kind of situation off the field, then let's get it squared away. Let's allow him to deal with what he needs to deal with and get him back and functioning like Mookie Betts, because they're going to need, he's just not the same guy. And it just doesn't, you look at his OPS, it's way below league average. You look at his batting average, it's just not numbers that you look at that are associated with Mookie. And if he needs some time to get squared away, let's give him some time to get squared away, because, I think every Dodger fan is a huge Mookie Betts fan. I've not run into anybody that doesn't love Mookie, myself included. But he has not had a good year. And if there's some external factors that are affecting that, I hope he can get them addressed.
No knock to Michael Conforto, but he's batting under Michael Conforto standards with the Dodgers this season over his last 7 games. A 103 batting average, a 188 OBP. That's very tough.
He's swinging at pitches early in counts. Like it's just not Mookie, and he's swinging and missing a lot. Like this is a while ago, so I understand that a lot of things can change. But I remember when Mookie first got to the Dodgers, there was some crazy stat where through the first 50 games or so, he had swung and missed at a strike like 3 times in 50 games, where he'd swung and missed at a pitch in the strike zone. Well, that feels like he does that every night. And he's not seeing enough pitches. It is a mystery, and I'm sure they're going to continue to work on it. This is the good news about a player like Mookie. He's deeply invested. He's deeply committed. No one for a second believes that he's doing anything other than working as hard as he can to try to find a way out of this. So everybody's willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But when you see a Hall of Famer like this just completely lost, it's really peculiar. It's really bizarre.
Go to last night, yesterday afternoon. The Dodgers take a 2-1 lead in the 7th inning. They have the bases loaded. Mookie Betts has the bases loaded with 2 outs. First pitch he sees flies out to right field. And it's not the first time he's done it over the last month where he has the bases juiced and it's a perfect scenario for him to break a game open, flies out on the first pitch. That's not Mookie Betts like. And man, he was 2 for 28 over his last 7 games until he got that infield single that started the Dodgers comeback in the 9th while down 1 with 2 outs. So we'll give him credit for that because if it weren't for Mookie Betts hustling out that single, getting to first base in time before the throw, the Dodgers would have lost that series, and we'd be talking right now about how they lost 5 out of 6 games in this homestand, about how they had lost 12 out of 15 games. The sky was falling ahead of this 9-game road trip. No, he was a key component of that game, but at the same time, he had more opportunities to let this game not be in that situation where we needed a hero to get us over the hump and get us to that win. So Mookie, like I said, hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully he's with the team over in Boston, and hopefully we can get that Mookie Betts that we love and that we've seen since 2020 all the way to 2024, because you mentioned it. It's year 5 of a 12-year deal. After 2025, he's still under contract for 7 more seasons.
At a pretty nice price too. Like he's Mookie Betts. He deserves some money. He's been terrific. He's a 3-time World Series champion. Here's the good thing, and we can kind of wrap on a positive note when it comes to Mookie. Like you said, he has never once dogged it. He has never once snapped at anybody. He has never once blamed anyone else for a tough season. And one of the reasons, maybe the reason I love baseball the way that I do, is it is the weirdest game in the world. It just doesn't make any sense that nothing that happened yesterday has anything to do with what's going to happen today or what's going to happen tomorrow. It is just the weirdest thing ever. And I love that about the sport. And this is where every night I'm optimistic. All it's going to take, I really believe this, is a night where Mookie Betts hits the ball hard a couple of times, has a double, hits a home run, and really kind of smokes one. It's like, oh, that's it? And the light comes back on, and he's Mookie Betts all over again. I don't know if you're a golfer or not, Harry, but all the golfers in the audience will know that some days you're having a day where you can't do anything right. Every time you swing the club, it feels like you got a shovel in your hands. And then you take one swing, and everything's right. And you're like, that's all it was. And then you're back. It's good. And I really am optimistic that Mookie will find it. He's too talented of a guy. He's too hardworking of a guy. He's too good of a teammate. He's too good of everything to have been this bad for this long. I really do think he'll come out of it. It's just going to take one of those weird baseball things to snap him awake again.
Hey, baseball is a sport that doesn't make sense. And every morning we're here with you trying to make sense out of it. And that'll do it for today's show from Travis and I. Thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. If you're still craving more baseball talk, have the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night with Sully be your second listen. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find it on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And also, catch Pete Fox after every Dodgers game on our YouTube channel with his live postcast. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday, with a trade deadline special. Which positions, which players should the Dodgers target to strengthen their roster and not just make it to October, but win it all in back-to-back seasons? Travis, no doubt multiple moves are needed right now.
Hopefully Duran went to Boston with the Dodgers. Hopefully he just walked across the field from Minnesota to LA and he's on his way to Boston with the Dodgers because they could certainly use him. He's terrific.
Yeah, right now he'd be with a hoodie trying to hide because the trade hasn't been made official. We'll see. We'll see if we get Joan Duran. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, which is tomorrow, Friday, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.